Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy and ascension forecast for Sunday, December 25th to Saturday, December 31st. So let's break up what we just went through over this past week. What a freaking doozy. A lot of that is because we hit the galactic center of our Milky Way galaxy. We aligned with our central sun when we hit that 27th degree of Sagittarius energy. Of course, we opened this great grand stream, if you will, this portal, although I hate to use that word when it's technically not a portal, but we were in a perfect alignment with that central sun. We received the downloads, the information packets that we need in order to enter into this next karmic chapter. And of course, we wrapped up the karmic chapter that we've been in since the fall equinox when we moved into Capricorn season. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But first, we had one major event take place in between aligning with the galactic center and the solstice energy, which Capricorn season ushered in, which is Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, blessings, abundance, re-entering into Aries energy. That took place on the 20th. And of course, a little bit of a flashback. We first entered into Aries energy back in May 10th to be specific. And we didn't get very far. We got 8 degrees in before Jupiter went retrograde. We crept all the way back to the beginning of Aries energy, snuck back into Pisces energy, and of course, continued the retrograde up until the end of November. Then we started creeping ahead again, hitting those critical crisis degrees in Pisces energy. And then bam, we snuck in to that Aries energy on the 20th. We closed the door on a 12-year chapter, and we are opening a brand new door on the next 12-year chapter that Jupiter is going to lay the scene for us. And then on the 21st, we had the solstice take place, the shortest day, the longest night. Of course, here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are experiencing the winter solstice, while the Southern Hemisphere is experiencing the summer solstice. Regardless, here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are moving into, typically speaking, what we like to call the dark night of the soul, the last quarter of the astrological calendar that will take us all the way up into the spring when we re-enter into Aries energy once again. That dark night of the soul is a little bit dark, a little bit heavy, a little bit serious, a little bit somber, but all of those particular description words kind of align with Capricorn energy anyway. So we have a lot going on. And of course, we have Chiron, the wounded healer, going direct here on early the 23rd, hours before the new moon in Capricorn. This is the last new moon in Capricorn. Well, the last new moon period of 2022, the second new moon in Capricorn of 2022, the first one back in January at the latter degrees of Capricorn energy, kind of wrapped up old karma, old life lessons, old roles and responsibilities. And this one is setting us up for new ones. We are entering into a brand new season, a brand new cycle. This new moon in Capricorn is at 1 degree. This is a clean slate. We have to think long term on what it is that we want to build, what it is we want to give birth to, what it is we want to create, because this is the 2-year cycle that we are now moving into. Lots going on, lots of feels, lots of ascension symptoms, and special mention, Monday, the 19th, we had that moon just a trifling in Scorpio energy. It was the most busiest, chaotic, crazy day in the cosmos. My moving day, mind you. And for those of you wondering, it was an absolute shit show. I moved in a storm. It was a 3.5, 4 hour white knuckle drive. Moving truck got stuck, couldn't deliver my stuff for 5 hours the next day. It was a 2-day absolute shit show extravaganza. So there you go. It happens to the best of us. It was absolutely crazy. And speaking to people throughout this week, whether they were moving or not, it's been a little bit of a cray-cray kind of week. And I'm sure you could agree. So what do we got going on this week? Well, we have Christmas, and whether you celebrate it or not, what Christmas actually is when the sun in the sky starts to rise again. Of course, the solstice is when it looks like it is paralyzed in the sky. It gets essentially hung up on the cross, the coordinate cross of the elliptical that the sun kind of moves throughout the seasons, and it gets hung up there. And for 4 days, it does not move. It does not gain momentum. It just stays still. And Christmas, December 25th, is when the sun is born. So regardless of what you align with, regardless of what you believe in, regardless of what you celebrate, the sun is now moving once again. It is a rebirth. It is a very, very highly energetic day because the sun is rising in the sky once again. We have Mercury going retrograde on the 29th, and all this week we are building towards the first quarter moon in Aries on the 29th as well. That's right, you heard it here, folks. Mercury's going retrograde on the same day within hours of the first quarter moon taking place in Aries energy at 8 degrees, which is a very interesting point of reference, seeing as Jupiter made it to that 8 degrees way back in the spring before going retrograde. So there's a little bit of impulsivity coming in, a little bit of restlessness coming in. We have the want, need, and desire to take action, to make moves, but of course we're not supported by the cosmos in doing that right now. We're in a resting phase, a research phase, a reflection phase, a strategizing phase, but that energy, that Aries energy just wants to say, screw it. Let's just take action and deal with the consequences later. And that, my friends, will get you in trouble. And of course, this week we are wrapping up 2022, the year of 6, the year of perfection, the year of health and wellness, the year of defining boundaries, taking care of ourselves, of our mental health, realizing where it is that we have to show up for ourselves first before showing up for everybody else. And it is setting the tone for moving into 2023. Yep. I still haven't done the 2023 forecast. Yep, still on my to-do list. I have a lot going on. I apologize again for my late-ass procrastinating self. It will get done, though. Moving into 2023, we are moving into a 7 year, which is about balance, finding peace and harmony. Once again, doing the inner work, building on the relationship with ourselves, with our higher selves, with the people around us, with our environment around us, and essentially balancing the scales, negotiating, compromising, give and take in order for us to find a solid footing that we can make peace with. So we got a lot going on. Now, a couple of things that I want to address as far as homework goes. Yep, you may have noticed that the date night, the Ascension forecast that I usually put out Friday evenings, got postponed to Saturday morning. My bad. My apologies. I got a lot going on. I know we all do. And as I've been preaching for the last God knows how long about Saturn being an Aquarius energy, the lessons coming at us over this past year about where it is that we have to, really kind of enforce new boundaries, recognizing where it is that we're overextending ourselves just and keep other people happy. I thought to myself, you know what? I got a lot going on. Just moved. It is crazy. It is chaotic. It's a little bit of a cluster F, and I just didn't know how to fit all of this in. So I do apologize to my regular Friday evening date night people that we had to reschedule and postpone to early Saturday morning, but the information is here. We're still all aligned. We're going to get this over with in a brief type of forecast because I know we're all busy doing a whole lot of everything. So I just wanted to thank you so much for being here. I want to thank you for subscribing, for liking, for commenting, for sharing. I want to thank you for jumping over to Patreon and supporting me over there. I want to thank you for those of you who downloaded the Moon Guide. Please take advantage of the discount code. Last New Moon 2022 will get you 50% off. It comes to like $4.44 Canadian. And you know what? That is a very small investment that you should be making in yourself. This is the most opportunistic, advantageous new moon in Capricorn that we got going on. I know it's pretty cray-cray. of a time of, in this holiday season and things coming and going and all over the place, but you should definitely be carving out a little bit of time to sit down, to visualize what it is that you want to bring to life, to give birth to create here over this next year. And just recognize that this new moon in Capricorn is a super powerful one, and I would hate for you to miss out. The last thing that I'm going to leave you with is happy holidays, whichever way you choose to celebrate, whichever way you choose to acknowledge. There is a lot to celebrate. We had the solstice energy, which is the most powerful thing that any of us could be celebrating. We, of course, have the traditional Saturnalia, traditional Christmas, pagan holiday, whichever way you want to look at that. If you're a little bit more interested in that topic and theme, I did a private podcast on what Christmas is actually all about, what the solstice is actually all about for my VIP members over on my Patreon. Skip on over and check that out if you are interested. So, yes, I am trying to condense this in a smaller forecast than normal. Usually I rant and rave for approximately an hour each week. And just because of the season, I am going to try and cover all of the Ascension symptoms in a shorter amount of time, just so that we all know what to expect over this next week. And then we can get on with getting on with whatever it is that we're getting on with. So the biggest Ascension symptom that we are going to experience throughout this next week is the continuation of the exhaustion that really knocked most of us off of our rockers with that solstice energy, with that Capricorn energy. Reason being, Capricorn energy is an earth energy. It's low and slow. The exhaustion is needed in order for us to slow down our physical bodies. When we have these many data packets, information packets, downloads coming in, our physical body needs to be at the slowest state possible, bedridden, if you will, in order for the light codes to overwrite the old junk light codes that are still alive and well in our cellular memory, in our DNA. So the low and slowness is going to continue. I would really recommend to take advantage of it. I know it's really hard when, things are crazy and holiday season and ups and downs and visits and comings and goings and everything in between. But let me just tell you, taking care of the vessel that you have to house the energy in is the most important thing for us to do. It has to be very, very high on the to-do list. And that low and slow energy is not only going to affect our physical bodies, it is likely going to hit that mental plane when Mercury goes retrograde on the 29th. I'm going to say our thoughts are going to slow down. We're a little bit more tunnel vision. We can complete a thought, which is nice. We're also going to be reflecting back. There's a lot of nostalgia that kicks in Capricorn season anyways, not even to mention the overlap of the holiday season. But Mercury going retrograde, again, we have to look back in order to figure out how it is that we are going to move forward. So we're definitely going to feel that, I'm going to say, slowing down in our physical bodies and in our mental plane. Now, there's a huge purge taking place because, of course, when we are looking to receive new light codes, new data packets, we got to get rid of something. Keep in mind, we are an operating system. This is like doing a data defragment, if you will. And so because of that, there's a lot of emotion coming to the forefront. You might feel that lump in your throat. You might feel like your heart is having a little bit more of a rapid beat, a little bit more of an intense pressure in your chest. And we have to purge, we have to release in order to make way and make space for this new information, for this new data, for these new light codes to actually anchor into our physical body. Keep in mind that trauma, memories, emotions, thoughts get trapped in our cellular memory. That's why we gain dis-ease in our physical bodies. That's why we have to do the inner work, the shadow work in particular, in order to clear out our systems so that the new light codes can come in and overwrite the junk and activate and elevate our DNA and clear the channels, our meridians, right? We have energy meridian lines in our bodies. And we need to make sure that that is free and clear of gunk so that the energy can move freely with ease. So we have to do the work there. Now, you might be feeling the purge coming out other ways. I'm going to say bathroom issues. And a lot of that is just because, we were all clamped up, let's say. We were all clamped in our gut, a lot of nervousness, a lot of stress. And now we've reached this, I'm going to say, breakthrough point where, old karma is being released, new karma is being initiated. And with that, we literally have to let go of the crap. Okay, so hopefully we can do it in one swim movement, and we're not spending the whole, holiday break in the bathroom, but just expect that it is needing to come out. We need to make space. Now, hopefully it comes out that way, because there is a high probability that we are going to feel a little bit nauseous, and it could come up this way. Now, it's never ever feeling good to puke, but our digestive system, of course, our solar plexus and our sacral plexus is in that vicinity, in that area, and it's all connected. It's all a system, and we are going through an energetic upgrade. That happens every single time that we shift timelines, that we jump into new soul contracts, that we're in a new karmic chapter, and of course, we just moved into one. So whether it actually comes up or not, we are likely going to be feeling a little bit of digestive discomfort, a little bit of nausea, again, around the holiday season. Please, please, please be mindful of the amount of sugar, of the amount of white flour that you're putting in your body. Alcohol, of course, all of these things are not only suppressing your immune system and will make you sick, but it is junking up your guts and not making it very easy for these new energetic upgrades to actually settle in. So again, with the Mercury retrograde coming up, we have to talk about the mental plane here a little bit. And we are going to feel a little bit dizzy, a little bit disoriented. We might get that spinning feeling once again, but it's probably only going to last for like 2-3 days tops. Where it's in Capricorn energy, we're a lot more grounded, a lot more realistic, a lot more practical, so it's not very chaotic. If we were in an air sign, we would likely be bouncing all around, but in an earth sign, we're a little bit more focus. We're a little bit more tunnel visioned. Now, that's not to say that we're not going to feel the dizziness, the spinning, the flashes, the insight, the visions, but it does mean that it's going to be a little bit more realistic in nature. It's going to be practical and logical for us to kind of see things from a different set of eyes, if you will, a different perspective, a different understanding. Our insight, our vision, our psychic abilities are elevating. We are getting that upgrade. That happens when we move into a new karmic chapter, a new cycle, a new season, and we're definitely smack dab in the middle of it. I want you to pay attention to the sights coming into your peripheral vision. A lot of orbs, a lot of sparkles, a lot of flashes, a lot of floaters. I want you to pay attention to your ears, your hearing. Again, frequency changes. A lot of noises that didn't bother us before are absolutely just torturing us now. And a lot of that comes with the sensory upgrade that, of course, this energetic upgrade triggers in our central nervous system. It can feel very extreme if you are having a lot of head pressure, a lot of dizziness, a lot of ascension symptoms essentially rooted in the head space. Please put up a hood, put a toque on, put a hat on. If it can be black in color, that's going to be even better because it slows down the amount of light codes able to come into the crown. Just gives us a little bit more, I'm going to say a little bit more of a grounding ability, if you will, to slow that energy down. You're likely still going to have some racing thoughts, though. Those racing thoughts, that racing emotion, our heart and our head going through this purge, trying to align, trying to gain perspective, trying to set up where it is that we're going. But of course, most of the answers that we're looking for in a futuristic sense can be found by looking back. This is, you've heard me talk about it, this is essentially going back to the future. What is old is new again. What is been old and forgotten is coming up for renewal and for re-acknowledgement. It is all part of the process. And, we're feeling this tug of war, especially between our heart and our head. We're feeling this tug of war between the old and the new. And we're also feeling this tug of war versus the chaos versus the stillness. So it's weird to kind of be in this weird zone out stage where we're really not focused on anything, but yet we're focused on everything. And it's really weird to not have a whole lot going on in our physical realms, but yet feel so crazy, disoriented, and chaotic because it feels like everything is happening, everything is changing. All of this stuff is needing to come up for acknowledgement. Capricorn energy deals with the past. It also deals with the future. It deals with karma from the past, karma from the future, roles and responsibilities that we've outgrown in the past, roles and responsibilities that we're growing into in the future. There's a whole integration process that happens. And of course, we got triggered with that whole process when the sun moved into Capricorn season and when the solstice hit all of us. So I want you to pay attention to the temperature fluctuations in your body. I would suspect that most of us are going to be on the cold side with random blasts of heat, so much so that you're probably going to be taking those layers of clothes off. I always think of that Nelly song, like it's getting hot in here. That kind of hits us out of nowhere. So now let me just say this. Energy is typically speaking, cold when it's coming in, when new energies are infiltrating. When you get that hot blast, that is the energy trying to break up the old DNA codes, the old cellular memories, the old trauma, the old pain, the old suffering. So for many of us, we're going to be on the cold side because, we're receiving a lot of energy. We're receiving a lot of information. And then bam, all of a sudden we're sweating to death. We got to take sweaters off, socks off, everything. We're overwhelmed with heat because that energy gets to a certain place in your body where there's a blockage, an energy blockage, an emotional, traumatic response to the energy and the light codes that are coming in to try and heal that particular area. Pay attention to your physical body. Pay attention to when you get those hot blasts and pay attention to the discomfort or the uneasiness, if you will, in your physical body and where those energy blockages may indicate that you have to do a little bit more energy healing, a little bit more of the emotional work. And of course, we're in this dark night of the soul where everything feels dark and heavy and weighted and serious and somber. That comes with Capricorn energy anyways, comes with the solstice energy. It comes with moving into the last quarter of the zodiac calendar. I just want you to understand that, bouts of depression and then moments of high elation. It may feel bipolar to you, but that is just how the energy cycles through our bodies. It hits a blockage, it beats its way through, it releases that blockage, then the energy moves swiftly and smoothly once again, and then we're tickety-boo until the next bout of energy comes at us. So just understand that, it's a highly emotional time, highly sensitive time. Energy upgrades, energy level ups always are. Entering into new karmic battlefields, if you will, always trigger a little bit of sadness, a little bit of grief, a little bit of trauma. The holidays are pretty much hard on everybody because there's always someone that we're missing. There's always something that gets triggered in us as far as, memories go. It's a very difficult time. So you have to be patient. You have to be kind with yourself. That nostalgia is quite a thing. Just make sure that when you're looking back on all these nostalgic memories, that you're looking back with clear vision and not wearing rose-colored glasses. We do have a tendency, although Capricorn energy is going to eventually make us into the realists that we need to be, but we have a tendency to kind of romanticize the past, look back and make it a better situation than it actually was. And thank goodness for this Capricorn energy, keeping it real, keeping us grounded, keeping us logical and practical. We're able to call ourselves out on the bullshit. We don't want to romanticize the past. The past is the past for a reason. So we want to make sure that we're looking at it with no gunk in our eyes. Now, we talked about these Aries energies kind of getting us all restless and ants in our pants and triggering some impulses. We want to, go out in the world and make things happen and, just kind of seize the day, if you will. But again, may I remind you, this is not a time. This is not a time for initiation, not a time for beginnings. Do not let the modern day calendar fool you. Okay, January 1st is not a great time to initiate new things. It is a time to strategize, to plan, to do the work, do the research, get the details together. Not saying that you can't start new things. Everybody's like, oh, well, I have this new opportunity for a new job. Should I put it off? It's like, no, we have to be careful of our energy. Aries energy, the downfall is that we have poor energy management. We jump into things, we go balls to the walls, and then we burn ourselves out before we even get to see the goalpost. We don't want to do that. We have a prime opportunity to set a strong foundation down for the next 12 years. We want to make sure that we're doing it right. So just pace yourself, if anything else. Now, Capricorn season in its entirety, again, we talked about this, it's an earth energy, but it rules over structures. And in our physical body, the structure that we have is our skeletal structure, which means that there's probably a lot of weight, a lot of heaviness in your body. You're probably feeling like bones are snapping and cracking and popping. There's a lot of rigidity. Everything feels tight. It can definitely feel heavy and weighted and achy. Do what you can, okay? Salt baths, Epsom salts, beautiful. You want to make sure that you're nurturing your vessel. This is a very slow time, a very low time, a very heavy and weighted time in our physical bodies. Just pay attention to what it is that your body is telling you. Give it what it needs. Now, you might have aches and pains in your physical body, but I feel like many of us are going to be feeling it in our shoulders, in our elbows, in our wrists, and in our fingers. Now, why is that? Well, because Capricorn energy tends to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. There's a lot of karma, a lot of weight, a lot of roles, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of commitments, a lot of obligations, and you bet we are going to feel that, energetically speaking, on our shoulders. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to have, knee pain. Now, if you have a lot of knee pain, just recognize that that's where you trap and store fear. So it would be a good idea, if you are suffering from knee discomfort, that you take a good look at emotionally what it is that you're fearful about, what it is that you're afraid of. So we want to be making sure that any type of physical ailment that we get, that we try to relate it back to the energy center that rules over that particular area of the body, so that we can figure out the emotion that we have to sort through in order to release that particular energy blockage. Now, you may be having some discharge coming out of orifices, right? Purge, that's part of the purge. Liquid snot, eyes running. I even notice a little bit more drool at night. I know that ain't cute, but it's real. So that's what I'm throwing at you. Got to keep it transparent. Got to keep it 100% real. There's a lot more liquids in your body because we are going through this recalibration. Essentially, I think I talked about this last week. It's like we're going through an oil change, like a lube change, if you will, with this karmic shift. And we are going to see that in the quote unquote discharge that our disgusting but beautiful human bodies tend to go through. So you might be hacking up some phlegm. Again, that kind of connects with the heart purge, the heart activations that we're going through, getting those emotions out. Cough it up, get it out, keep clearing the throat, do what you got to do, scream, sing, dance, get it out, shake it up, and then get it on out. Now, with this Aries energy, we do have to expect that we're going to have some mouth pain, teeth pain, gum pain, toothache, biting of the tongue, splitting of the lips, whatever you may experience. Just know that it has a lot to do with the Aries energy. Jupiter is in Aries. The first quarter moon will be in Aries. This is going to help us cut the cords of the past. It's happening at a beautiful time in the calendar on the 29th. The first quarter moon is always when we reach this point of action, this point of aha, this point of, yep, I'm done with that. I'm not looking back, ripping the rear view mirror off of my car. I'm not looking back in the past. I'm only going forward. And of course, that is setting us up for a beautiful transition as we move into 2023. With the head pressure, I want you to pay attention to your ears. We talked about the sensory type of dysfunction just with our energy, kind of being elevated and illuminated and new abilities coming on board and reaching new vibrations and frequencies. I want you to pay attention whether or not you're having an earache. Now, it may not be an ear infection, although that is common at this particular point in the calendar, but it's like an earache, like you have a headache in your ear, like there's pressure in that side of your face. Pay attention to what side of the face it's on. because that's an indicator of what it is that you're struggling with. But there could be like ear pressure, ear aches, ear clicking, it's not just necessarily the ringing that we typically get with downloads. It's like a different pressure, like you're underwater, like there's water in the ear, like it's hot, like one ear might be hot over the other. Again, that plays in with the temperature fluctuations that I want you to pay attention of. There's just a lot of pressure in the head as we approach Mercury going retrograde. And with that, a lot of funky symptoms that can definitely play out in that particular area of the body. So of course, there is the typical Ascension cold and flu, which I hope we can all avoid. But it is just really hard when many people are stressed out around this particular time, when there's a lot of buzz, a lot of things going on, a lot of people eating things that they don't normally eat, drinking things that they don't normally drink, or volume of drinking things that they don't normally consume. Just please be kind to your physical body. With the amount of energy coming into our cosmos and the amount of shifting that we're doing with timelines and soul contracts and the whole shabam, we really have to kind of boss up and be a little bit kinder to our physical form, because it is, once again, the only vessel that we are gifted with in order to house all of this energy that we are day to day truly trying to refine. So guys, I'm trying to keep it short and sweet and to the point. I know we all got a lot going on, a lot of things just coming and going, but I didn't want to skip this entirely because, you know what, regardless of whether Christmas chaos got you pegged down or not, the energy stops for no one. We have a lot going on. There's a lot of evolving going on, a lot of shifting going on. And I just want you to be consciously aware of how your physical body is responding to the energetic upgrades, especially as you're kind of being torn in all kinds of different directions as you face this holiday season. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in, for spending your time, your energy with me. I hope you have the happiest of holidays, regardless of what you believe in, regardless of what you celebrate. There is always a reason to celebrate yourself. And you know what? You made it through another year. And Lord Jesus knows it was not the easiest of years. We are, like I said, only a couple years into this great awakening. We definitely have a lot more years to go before we are going to present new Earth to this Earth that, of course, we are in constant transformation and elevation of trying to lock into. So regardless of what you're doing over this next week, I want you to know that you are not alone, that you are so deeply loved, and I want you to check in each and every day for the energy forecast and just kind of scan through the comments, because there are people out there going through the exact same thing as you. And there is a lot of comfort when you know that your signs, that your symptoms, that your particular situation is being validated by strangers all across the world. I want to thank you so much for showing up for me. I want to thank you so much for showing up for yourself. Have the happiest of holidays. I'm sending you nothing but love, and we'll talk to you soon.